Hello and happy Friday, but this is not just any Friday. This is the last day of the semester. So I want to take you along with me on my very last day of the fall 2023 semester. Even though it's January 2024, it always happens. It depends on when the Spring Festival is, when the Chinese New Year is, but usually we get out in January and we start again in February. So it is 7:55. I've got to go. We're gonna head to class today. Today is a pretty full day. I have 4 hours of class in the morning, which means I have 2 different classes. Each class is 2 hours each. So one of those classes has finished their final exam and we are going to be doing a bonus lesson. The other class still has to finish up their final exams. Then I have a lunch break and then I go back for another 2-hour class and they have the bonus lesson. They have finished their finals already. So I'm very eager to see the students. A little bit sad to say goodbye, but we don't think about that because that makes us sad. Okay, let's go to class and get the last day of this semester started. Crazy. Hello, welcome to my bench. This is usually where I sit right before, wow, that sun, woo! This is usually where I sit before a class starts. I got in the habit of it during the pandemic and I would sit here and figure out who was in lockdown or who was in quarantine or who couldn't come to class. Wow, that sun is so fun, I love it. I made it to work in record time. Not pictured was the guy selling chickens from his truck, like live chickens, almost getting hit by a Range Rover because I thought he ran a red light, but I checked and the lights are not synced properly. So he had a green light and we had a green light to cross the road as he was crossing the road. So that was fun. Also, I was driving and there was a guy smoking in front of me, which is something I realized is really strange that if you're driving a car, you definitely don't experience. But if you get behind somebody who's smoking, I really hate it. One, because if they're in front of you, the smoke will blow back onto you. And I don't really want to show up to class smelling like smoke, but also they always drive really, really slow because, you know, they're just out there trying to enjoy their morning cigarette. And so I went around him and I was immediately behind another guy who was also smoking. So I went around him and I was behind another guy who was also smoking. Like, can't win today. But I am here. Class is about to start. So I should probably go. I usually try to get to class 10 minutes early anyway. If I'm a little bit earlier, maybe I'll try to send some feedback because I just checked and I have a couple of students who want me to send them feedback on their final exams. But here we go. Last day of the semester. Let's hope it goes well. Class is done for the morning and my goodness, it is definitely bittersweet. I mean, I've had these students for 3 semesters, some of them even 4 semesters. So I definitely feel like it's so strange knowing that next semester I'm not going to have them. And it's also a little bit strange to think about next semester being the spring semester, but I'm going to have a whole new set of students, which usually I get a whole new set of students in the fall semester, but this spring I will get brand new students. Honestly, the students did so well on their exams, better than a lot of the other classes. So I was really proud of them. And after they finished the exam, a lot of them wanted to get feedback and they wanted to take pictures. And so it was a pretty happy morning. It was pretty good if I say so myself. But now I have a 2-hour lunch break because in China, that's generally the type of break that you get. And I don't have an office. So I'm gonna go to a coffee shop and I'm going to do a little bit of grading and try to make sure I grade everything that we just did. I'll probably send feedback to students as well. And I did bring my journal because it is the last day of the semester and I kind of want to journal a little bit too. When I left campus, I had planned on getting a lot of work done at the coffee shop, grading final exams and totaling up attendance scores. But to be honest, by the time I got to the coffee shop, I was just tired. I mean, it's the end of the semester. As I was sitting there, I realized I could push through and grade and work, but something I really have been trying to do this semester is to take care of myself first, as cheesy as that sounds. So instead of pushing through my tiredness, I decided to just sit back, drink my coffee, look out the window, and journal a little bit. I wanted to journal about the end of the semester because this has been a very significant semester. I was thinking over the things I loved about this semester. I loved getting to go so much deeper into business topics with them. I loved being able to compliment students specifically when I saw something special in them. I really focused on that this semester. So if students had really excellent ideas during our case studies and our practices, I told them that they have a business mindset and this was a really excellent idea, or they were looking at the big picture, which is excellent for a leadership role. And I think my favorite part of this semester was that I was in the same classroom for most of the time. So students would know that and they would come and say hi to me and they would just pop into the classroom and they would just say hi, but then they all started to ask questions and ask for advice. And they would say things like, I have an interview next week. Do you have any tips? And then next week they would bounce back into the classroom and say, Megan, I got the offer. Thanks so much. Your tips really helped. And it was just really encouraging and really precious to be able to have those spontaneous interactions with them and to know that they were actually learning something and applying something that was going to affect their lives. So overall, was it the perfect semester? Of course not. There's no such thing. But I really did enjoy my time with these students, and I'm looking forward to the students I'm going to get next year. Welcome back to the bench. Hopefully you can excuse the crazy light. I mean, it's not as crazy as this morning. It's been kind of a weird end to the semester, but it's been good. It's been an incredibly good semester. I did want to share a little bit because I feel like I haven't talked very much in this vlog, but I wanted to share a little bit about what my next class is going to be and what I'm teaching because I'm actually very excited about it. Sorry if it gets a little bit louder because I'm starting to see all the students come out, emerge from the shadows to go to their next class. But like I said, most of my classes have already finished, and this was just an extra class, like a bonus lesson. And my students are senior students, and in China you finish all of your classes in January, but then you have a 6-month internship. So my students don't technically graduate until July, but essentially their college life finishes this week, and I wanted to give them a chance to kind of just stop and consider what they really want out of their future career and out of their internship. So I start the lesson by saying that I'm going to ask them a few questions, and I ask them to get out a piece of paper and just get ready to write down their answers to these questions. And I really just want them to start thinking about what they want out of their future career as they enter the job force for the first time. And these are questions that honestly, I wish people had asked me in high school and in college. So the first question I ask them is, what type of work satisfies you? You know, when you're a student, you have to do homework. And when you're an adult, you have to work. But if you have to do homework, or if you have to work, what type of work is most satisfying to you? And I give them a few examples. For example, I love short-term projects. I like working independently. I like repeated systems, but with varying content. I like to share information. I like to communicate with a lot of different people. And I ask them to write down characteristics that are along those lines, because then I tell them that being a teacher actually makes me very happy because it aligns with most of those things that I wrote down on my list. When I'm a teacher, I have so many short-term projects. You know, I will plan a lesson for 1 week, or if you even want to think about it, I just have 1 semester where I have these students and this textbook and this topic. After 3 or 4 months, I get to change that. If I had to do something for 6 months or 1 year, I might not be as satisfied. I love repeated systems with varying content, which is basically all of teaching. I teach the same lesson again and again, but the students are always different. Every week I have to plan a lesson, but the topic is different. Every week I have to grade homework, but the topic is different. So it really makes me feel satisfied in my work. And I explained to them that based on what I said, I think a teacher would satisfy me, but at the same time, I think maybe being a real estate agent could also satisfy me, because you also have short-term projects. You have to sell an apartment or sell a house. You work pretty independently. I mean, you take the customers to view the houses. You would do the same thing every single time you're selling a house, but the house is always different. You communicate with a ton of different people. You're sharing information. And so I tell them that on the surface, teaching in real estate does not look similar at all. But when you think about the type of work that you're doing every single day, you might actually find a lot of joy and satisfaction out of being a teacher or being a real estate agent. When I ask them about their dream job, they're all stuck on titles. Like, do I want to be a teacher or a salesperson or a business person? But maybe it's better to think about what you're actually doing every single day. The second question I ask them is, what do you not want? And students usually find this a little bit easier to answer, and I'm able to help them a little bit with that. You know, I write down that I'm not really interested in a commission-based salary. I don't like high KPIs and all of that. And then I tell them that, you know, earlier I said being a real estate agent sounded great, but actually real estate agents are commission-based. So I tell them that understanding yourself and gathering information to understand yourself can be really, really useful in figuring out a job and a company that satisfies you. So that's what I want them to really focus on during their internships. And then at the end, I give them a couple of interview tips, and then I give them a list of interview questions that they can practice with their partner. I love this lesson. I've only taught it a couple of times, but I already love it and I want to add it to my rotation, and the students have really enjoyed it as well. So I think I'm going to actually put it on the website, atlasteachingesl.com, if you want to check out my exact lesson plan and maybe use it for your own students. But I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's almost 1:50, so I should probably go teach my last class of the semester. let's go. Let's do this. This is gonna be great. Hi, hello. If I look like a hot mess, it's because I am, but I am back home. The semester is finished. At least the classes are finished. So, deep sigh of relief. But I still do have to finish up grading. So at some point next week, I'll go back on campus and submit all of my final grades, but classes are done. And the class went really well. I think the teacher across me was playing some kind of movie and he had the volume turned way, way, way up. And I can kind of feel it in my throat because I had to like really speak out. And yeah, but it was fine. And after we finished the class, we stayed about another 30 minutes just taking pictures. So that was really fun. And one of my students had texted me earlier and she was like, what costume are you gonna be in? I wanna meet you. And she showed up after the class ended with a little bit of, see, the brain has already switched into holiday mode, with a little gift. And it's really, really sweet actually. I actually have never seen anything like this. It's a mirror, like, hi, but then you hit this button and let's calm it down a little bit. And then you can see there are like all these tulips or flowers inside. And I just thought that was so sweet. It's really adorable. It's a little bit of a weird end to the semester because usually there's like so much going on and when you finally finish it's this huge sigh of relief. But I feel like this semester is a little bit anticlimactic because we have had so much chaos at the end of this semester. But I think overall it was a really good semester. I'm really happy with the work that I did. And it's always really interesting to reach the end of the semester and kind of think back to the beginning, especially the class I just had. They are, let's just say they were my discipline class. They were out of control at their base level. So they were the class that I had to really get on and be like, okay, everybody, we're paying attention. Okay, we're not doing that. Okay, we're all focusing. Okay, you're working on this, right? And I had to get a little bit strict with them at times. But they're the class that wanted to spend the most time with me afterwards, and they all wanted to take pictures, and students who weren't really that active in class got really excited about taking a picture with me and wanted to talk to me. And so I think the rest of my day will just be grading and totaling up attendance, and then I think we're gonna go out to dinner tonight and kind of celebrate the fact that I finished all my classes. So I don't think there's too much more the rest of the day. If anything interesting happens, I'll take some clips. I'll film a little montage, but thank you for coming with me on my very last day of the fall 2023 semester, even though it is January 2024. I'm sure I will make a vlog starting a new semester, which is going to be crazy thinking about new students and new textbooks and new classes, but I'm very excited. Thank you for coming with me today. And I think that's all. If you want to see tips and resources and see more like how-tos and advice, you can subscribe to the channel for new videos, but you can also check out the website atlasteachingesl.com, where I have a lot of resources available for you if you're new to ESL or if you just need more ideas, because I need new ideas all the time. Okay, that's all for today. Happy last day of the semester. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.